Oh, you're muted, babe. Q is muted this morning, guys. But while she fixes that, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for joining us tonight to Shared Space. Tonight we have Lewis Thomas from PowerFest Baltimore joining us just through a huge event on on Saturday down the harbor and Rash Field. Collaborated with some really great organizers. Um, but real quick before we introduce you to Lou, Quida,
You
introduce
can hear
yourself.
me now.
How are
Welcome
you?
to
Yeah.
Shared Space. I don't know how I did that. I feel like y'all were talking to me before I unmuted, but it was all a figment of my imagination. But yes, this weekend was the Power Fest parade. Hello, folks. I am Laquita Chansey, the founder and director of Baltimore Homes. We build micro shelters and tiny homes for folks who are experiencing housing insecurity. And my brother from another mother, Chapo, introduce yourself.
I am Chaplain David Lovelace, full-time volunteer chaplain and volunteer in all the things in Baltimore City where there's a need. The people on the screen come together and help fill it. So privileged to work with kings and queens in Baltimore for sure. Um, Lewis, how are you, man? How was Saturday? How'd it look for you?
I'm good. I'm good. Saturday was amazing. It was the embodiment of what Baltimore is all about. People coming together from all races, all financial levels, different religions, just everybody, because that's what Baltimore is, a mixing pot. And they came together and had a good time. We got a chance to showcase some of the talent from Baltimore City that normally would not have an opportunity to be showcased at the Inner Harbor. I was shocked to talk to some of the people out there that hadn't even been to the harbor before. They lived a few blocks away.
Ever,
So
right?
it's crazy. But
Hey,
it was a
man.
good day. We had vendors out there selling crafts and t-shirts. We had food vendors. Food was amazing. We had snowballs, like a cone of ice, and we had basketball, three-point shootout, shoot buckets, not bullets. We had water slide. The kids were killing the water slide. We had a petting zoo that was different than what I've ever seen. It was more like reptiles, like the little meerkats and things like that. Super cool. It was a family business. We had the Marines. We had the Air Force. The Marines had their show car out there, which is amazing, like a 700 horsepower car they had out there, and everybody was doing chin ups. Man, what can I say? We had the parade was awesome. The stage was on fire. The stage was on fire. Hosted by Pastor Laree and K Sal. What another way of just showing the collaborations of Baltimore, having a pastor and then a secular show host and celebrity of Baltimore coming together and hosting the show. You very rarely see that. That was awesome. So we had everything from hip hop artists to praise and worship on the stage. It was crazy good. But I'm gonna tell you what, and I hope you got a clip somewhere, chat. But I'm gonna tell you what, the best part of the day was an unplanned dance contest,
Say
a
less.
dance off, Soul Train line,
All right,
old
y'all. So
school
look,
versus new school, off the hook.
we're gonna run this whole video, man, just so you guys can really enjoy and appreciate, like Lou said, just the unplanned
But
moment.
not only that, like it embodies Baltimore. Like listen to the music, look at the dance steps. It is just go ahead, Chapo. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you said it.
That's some little old school flavor right there with some old school versus new school.
Right. I love that Power Fest team representing. Get
There
out
you
Right,
go.
representing the old school.
there. I love it. But those kids started. I'm gonna just let y'all watch. I'm gonna let y'all watch.
So my favorite part of this, man, we were working, running around the fair at the festival, and just taking care of people and making sure everything was running smoothly. Is that by the time I walked over, one of my kids from the rec had just jumped in the circle, and I'm like, "What is happening, bro?" It was like so beautiful for me.
It was so organic, and the kids were having so much
Everybody was a rock star.
fun. Yes.
That's what,
Whoa.
I'm gonna let this
I
ride
love it.
because every girl that got in here that we captured deserves her moment, man. They were all killing it.
They were doing all types of stuff.
And
Split, dead drops, flipping. Look, flips. Look. What?
Oh,
What?
come on now.
What? I cannot. It ain't getting it.
and the bands, how about this? The bands that were still competing at this time, cheering each other on. Come on, man.
Yeah,
More love.
that's nothing but love.
Shorty gets it in too. Check her out. Yeah.
They were amazing out there, like both as bands and as impromptu Soul Train
Yes.
dancers. You hear me? Like,
That's my girl Reagan Hubbard from Southeast Baltimore. Maura Crossman, John Rora.
hey,
Y'all, we gotta make this a tradition.
Yes, already done.
I love this.
She ain't look. She wasn't with no band. She was like, no, I got some juice for you too.
Right. This one.
This one, what?
Flipping, back flipping, just like, what? So much talent in Baltimore. So much, like, just raw
Chap,
talent.
can you get me this? Let's put this on our Power Fest page.
I'll send you the link. You got to download it because it expires in Wednesday, I think, or Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Okay. Well, just send me the link. I can you send it to me Facebook Messenger? Awesome. This is great.
So who did you say was the DJ, Lou?
His name is DJ Gutter.
DJ Gutter.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
Nobody could have done it better.
I loved it. And so tell us more about it. So we started the parade. Oh, wow. Did y'all see that? Did you see that split situation? Lord have mercy.
So Quida, basically the parade started at Pier 6, and it was I think it's like about a mile walk from Pier 6 around past the trades, past the aquarium, past the Trade Center, past Harbor Place, past the Science Center, and on to Rash Field. It was a hot day. The kids were just marching their hearts out, and but the one thing that we were all there for is to bring resources to the people of Baltimore. And that was the amazing thing there. We had so many resources. We had voter registration, which I didn't even know that you could register to vote at 16 and 17 years old. And then when you turn 18, they automatically send you a registration form. They actually send you your voter's card.
Right.
So I didn't even know that.
Prepared, right?
Yeah, and so we had health screenings, we had COVID testing, we had all kinds of opportunities for people to job opportunities, opportunities to join the military, which can be a really good way out for some of the young people of Baltimore. So the resources were good, and we had a prayer tent.
And I just want to share, the prayer tent was first ones there and last ones to leave. Now that you mentioned that. But I also wanted to mention that the resources within the resources, man. So, so we had, because of my work, I've been doing my little side hustles with acting and doing the security and stuff. We were able to connect the one young lady who was a Marine with a casting agent to do some film work, right? We were able to connect some of our activists and organizers like Yolanda Pulley, some of our other people there. They were able to share some of their truths with Miss Wanda Watts, who's the oversight consent decree committee, right? So there was resources there for everybody, but then our people who brought resources were able to network with the other people and really really weave the community together in a fantastic way. I saw Quida going over talking to the health oriented people and hopefully bringing them in for her walk with the doc and being able to bring them to the community. And the kids, you talk about the kids on the water slide, they worked Dayson and David McNair with Creative Influence and Dayson Level Up. They held it down, but the kids worked them to death. Bro, they were loving the kids, man. It was really cool. I had the opportunity to, out of necessity, really, but to run out and help guide the bands along the way on the promenade. and just to see Baltimore seeing them, just to see tourists and out of towners and some of the regulars, and to see some of our homeless people or people experiencing homeless, forgive me, that migrate through the city. I saw some of my loves from Pennsylvania Avenue, and when they saw their bands that they see at Pennsylvania Avenue every year on the harbor, they were so filled with joy, right? It was just like, they're like, what are y'all go-getters are here? What's happening right now? Miss Lindy is one of my old girls, and Melanie, and it was really great. The people at the Phillips and the Cheesecake Factory, they didn't even know they're going to get a show with dinner that day.
Right, Lou. So that's what I want to know. Like, as the band was going through, were you able to see them marching through the parade? Like, were you through? Did you see what was going on? I'm wondering, what were people's faces like? Because this does not happen in that part of Baltimore.
So, I mean, the embodiment of it is Fox 45 came out and they did a story on it. And the first soundbite from that story is a woman, couldn't see her face, but you could tell she was a Caucasian woman. And she was like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life, and it's amazing. And to me, I feel like she spoke for the crowd. She spoke for everybody who was out there at the harbor, who may have been in town for the Boston Red Sox game, who may have been in town for a convention, who may just been bringing their children down for a little bit of ice cream or just a walk on the water. Excuse me, guys. My phone's ringing. I got to put on this. Hold on. But people who were down there for something else, and that's to me the strategy of doing something like Power Fest. People were coming for something else, but then they got what we had to give.
Yeah,
and that was amazing.
I love it.
I'll tell you, Q. Everybody's phones were out. Everybody's phones were out.
Rightfully so.
Oh my goodness, man. So they not only got celebrated in the space we were at, but so many people captured some of that, Baltimore love, man, that Baltimore talent. And, even though they may not have gotten, the intimate information of the bands and stuff, they're able to share some of, something different coming out of Baltimore for the day.
Right. I'm sorry, go ahead, Chapo.
No,
it was so dope to see like so many different flavors of folks also in the different bands, right? Like, it was so many different types of heights, body types. Like, I just loved that everybody was allowed to be who they wanted to be as they just paraded through the streets of Baltimore. You know what I mean? Like, Mass Destruction. Do y'all remember the names of all the dope bands?
I don't.
I do. So there was Epic, Go Getters, Mass Destruction, Dynasty, and I believe Extravaganza.
Okay.
But the beauty of it, like you said, so these weren't college marching bands, HBCU bands. These weren't high school bands. This wasn't, you had to audition and be super, have a certain look or have a certain style. This was neighborhood bands, and everybody from 2 to 102. I'll try to find a picture and get it on the screen here in a minute. But we had a picture of like a little 2-year-old dude when the bands were lining up, and he's in the front with his little drums and his sticks, man. And just imagine 2 years old, and you've been doing this since you were 2, and your first gig was the Harbor. I expect good things from this band. You feel me?
Yes, big things.
Yes.
Like, that is crazy.
Guys, I'm having some technical difficulties. I'm gonna go grab my headsets, and I'll be right back with you all.
Okay.
Sounds good, man.
That really puts things in perspective, Chap. Like I was saying, I love how inclusive this event was, how folks that I'm used to like not being able to see themselves represented in, these types of community events throughout that part of the harbor. Like, it was just really so heartwarming to me. And then I ended up bumping into so many people that I've met and seen before. So that was really cool too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. The fact that, we move through the city and all the work we do, and we see a lot of different faces, and to be able to bring them all together in one place, was really powerful, man. It was just really felt like a big family cookout or something, I wanted to talk about the petting zoo real quick. I wish I had good pictures, man, but it was wild, dude. I saw this little jit walking around with I don't know what I thought it was, but he had an iguana on his head chilling, walking around the festival, and I'm like, and he wasn't near the petting zoo at the time. He was getting some ice cream or something, and I'm like,
Right. I stayed
what's
away from them
going
the
on?
whole time. I didn't realize there was a petting zoo. I was like, whose kids are these? Where are the parents?
And
And
he was,
why are these
bro, he was
out?
so in touch with his family's business. Like he was walking around with snakes, and I think Lou said there's a meerkat. I definitely was scared to go in the tent, but this guy was bringing it out. This guy kept bringing it out and sharing, and so props to you, little man. And Lou, I think I'd like you to share. We'll get Lou back on here real quick.
Hold on for a second.
All right. We'll give him a second. So the beauty, the beauty and real expression of love that made this event genuine. So when I came around the corner, I'm running from like Pier 6 back to Rashfield and back and forth and doing, it actually exhausted me. I haven't been tired in a long time, but it got me, man. And but even people in the harbor, right? Like some of the dudes were like, "How'd you get there? Weren't you over there?" And trying,
They saw you
they couldn't even keep up with me, bro. I was having a blast. When I came back around and saw the dance off, man, and I came around right as little Miss Hubbard was jumping in the circle, and one of my girls from the Southeast that I had the privilege to serve at the rec center. Man, I was like, this is love. Like this is really beautiful, right? And what happened was after that, Lou slowed it down a little bit, and he brought back the competition. And it was it. Oh yeah, there you go, Lou. So for me, like being a huge movie buff, like I love film, man. And this is like a perfectly scripted film. I'm telling you, like the parade brought the crowd, the festival, we had Black Footloose broke out in front of the stage. It was great, like a little dance off scene. And then for the competition to end with two people tied for first and having to have a dance off between the team captains, I was like, bro, this is like a Tyler Perry movie. This is perfect, right? Like
it was
such a great experience.
that was definitely a way to describe it, a Tyler Perry movie. Go ahead.
Well, Lou can share with you. There was also a little magic, a little love that happened at the end of the competition. Lou, if you want to share with, because I don't remember the vendor's name, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but so what happened after the competition?
So there was a gentleman by the name of David Brown. He was a vendor. He has a photo booth. And you know what? I'm gonna kind of go off on a little side story. You just never know who you're talking to, who you meet. I mean, he and I have been talking about. I met him at the Be More Healthy Expo, and I mean, hey, just some regular dude that's taking pictures. And usually, photo booth people can be a little struggling trying to get those pictures. Trying to make that money. $5 a picture. And when they got finished the competition, he walked over to me and he said, "Hey, I went to Patterson High School." He said, "I marched in band." And it moved me. He said it moved him to tears. And he said, "I would like to donate $500 to each band that participated. Win or lose, they all get five." And he donated, so that's $2,000 to the band's total for being there. What an amazing thing. That's what this is all about.
Up.
Isn't that crazy?
Just for showing up right here in the community, like doing
let
what
that yeah, let that, and just think about that for a second. Let that speak to the power of love, right? Let that speak to the genuineness of the event. It wasn't like phony, it wasn't empty, it wasn't just a transactional event, like we weren't ATM machines for resources for the community. This man was so filled and inspired with hope and love from what he saw around him, not just the parades, I'm sure, but all the other genuine people showing up. His spirit was moved, man. And an act of generosity like that is not by any means insignificant, right?
Right.
Just, I don't know, it just speaks volumes to what we did, man. And the bands were so excited. And so,
it speaks volumes to what was done, who was there, how it all happened. Like the universe continues to give us what we need. Like I just love that happened. That's
against all odds, man. So yeah, and I'm glad I got Mr. Brown
story, and I didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, I'm glad I got Mr. Brown's name right this morning because I was on Mike Haney's show, and he's like, and I was like, David Brown, and I was ashamed I didn't know the name of the the business, but and without asking permission from him to share that, I just think it's important that people know, there is people out there that care. There's people out there that are genuinely moved by just by your art, just by you expressing yourself artistically. The bands um,
So
it is
wait,
it is important.
it is. It really is. So speaking of that, there was a whole stage and several different performances. Like, where did those artists come from? How did they know that Power Fest was going on? Like, how did this all happen?
So one of the things that the original organizers of the parade, Officer Evan, he really wanted to showcase Baltimore. So we've done Power Fest Baltimore. We've done Power Fest in different cities.
Okay.
Biggest ones we've done is in Orlando, and we've brought in national artists. But one of the things we wanted to do in this situation is to talk about what Baltimore has to offer, which to me is just as good, if not better. I mean, you know, people like Mesa have come out of Baltimore. So to me, one of the best singers in the world. So we got some local singers, rappers, dancers, spoken word, mom dancers,
From all walks of life,
from everywhere. Did some R&B. There was one gentleman who lives in Baltimore. We call him Jersey, but he was performing in New York City. He drove down here just to jump on the stage and jump in his car and drive back up to New York City.
Wow.
Yep.
That's the love that we got from Baltimore. The gentleman who was on the Ellen show that plays the drums, what's his name, Chap?
Timothy Fletcher, Timothy and Malik. I think it's A1 Drummond.
Played
Yep, so
his heart out. It was amazing. The praise and worship was amazing. It was like we had church.
It was.
You know, and then we went right back into our R&B. So one thing I can tell you that I always look for in Power Fest is to invite people who are open to everything.
Okay.
Everything good, everything love.
Yeah.
And so I was very careful not to have somebody so spiritual that they had a problem with the R&B guys or the rapper guys.
mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure that I had somebody that might have been a rapper that was so open that they didn't have a problem with praise and worship and still involved themselves in the praise and worship.
Right.
And that was the kind of crowd that was there. Everybody stayed. Nobody walked away because, oh, this is the rap part, or oh, this is the spoken word part, or oh, this is the Christian part. Everybody just stayed at the stage and enjoyed every single person that came on that stage. And it was beautiful. You know, our slogan is plug into the power of love, and everybody was plugged in.
So wait, did you all, I'm sorry, Chap, did you see when Blanca got up there and began to sign one of the songs?
No.
Blanca was up there signing one of the songs. Well, she stayed up there for a while, but I noticed her and I'm like, Blanca, why didn't you tell me you knew American Sign Language? She's like, oh, you know, I'm just now starting. I only know 500 words. You just did that whole song. I saw you do that whole song, like just 500 words. That's 500 more than me. I mean,
yeah, so
actually, I know too, but still.
So speak to that, right? Because Blanca is also she's a huge advocate for education in Baltimore City. She is an educator. She has bilingual classes. She's looking to open a bilingual daycare, making sure babies are bilingual before they go to kindergarten. And she is successful at it. She can do it. Like you just said, she just started sign language and she's signing on stage. She's a brilliant woman. She's also, I believe, she's going to be our newest liaison again for the consent decree oversight committee. So I mentioned that again because it's important. A lot of times there's obstacles in the communities. There's obstacles and issues with the police. And I'm saying this as a police chaplain. There's a lot of good guys out here because one of our primary organizers, both of them, one's retired and one's still working. He's working right now down the harbor. We're Baltimore City police officers. So we couldn't have done this without them. At the same time, there is some struggles and difficulties in the system and the agency. And so the consent decree people in the different districts, it's important to know who they are, to connect and communicate with them so that they can help people who don't understand the system navigate the system, make sure they're being treated fairly. Because it's not always the officers. Sometimes it's the way the system's set up that the officers are not empowered to serve in a positive way. Or things like this weekend, like the police department wasn't able to support what we did, but the officers were still involved. And so that's just part of the system. It doesn't mean our cops are bad guys, but having access to the people who hold the city accountable, like Miss Blanca Tapahuasco, Miss Wanda Watts. That's important that people who know who they are and know where they can run to get some support. Um, you know, and obviously like Baltimore Homes, Chuck Lee, um, Lewis with Power Fest. Like we're all here to serve. Everybody at that event was all people who we count on to stand in the gap and help the community out in different ways. Um, and so I appreciate everybody that showed up. There was some people there from Val's Hug Don't Shoot. There was people there. Yolanda Pulley with People Empowered by the Struggle. Nicole Mosby Taylor has a mental health empowerment program for youth. So there's all these different resources that they're not just resources. This is our family. And so if I'm experiencing housing stuff, I'm calling Yolanda. If my son needs therapy, I'm calling Nicole. If I know Quida wants to do an event for Baltimore Homes, a showcase or tiny homes, I'm calling Lewis to plan it because he's an event planner, right? So it's just really beautiful the way that everybody came together for this one event. Another one I just want to mention, just as we continue to talk, is that all the bands that day were fed by Jefferson Butler Catering at no cost to them. And Breadcoin helped support Jefferson in getting the support he needed to be able to feed the community for free, making sure he had the resources. And so Jefferson Butler Catering being a partner with breadcoin.org, all the bands ate for free that day. There was vendors there, and they also, trust me, they also hit up Bangin' Shrimp and Snowballs and all the other vendors we had. But in the least, everybody was fed that day that participated in the event, and that was a huge blessing.
Yeah, I didn't even know that whole section over there past the water park area, because that's basically what it was turned into.
Yeah.
A whole water park.
Yeah.
There was food over there. There were cars over there.
And that was
say it again.
Well, and that was intentional because we invited vendors, food vendors, to sell food. So the free food wasn't for everybody, but it was to support the bands who showed up, because the bands we didn't pay them to come. They showed up out of love and loyalty and respect. They were blessed. They got to eat, but they were blessed with the gift at the end of the event. So,
right.
So yeah, that's the reason it was offset. Yeah, we didn't want to step on toes.
But still, it was so great because once I noticed it and I walked over there, a woman that I had been talking to who sleeps in a bando not far from Rash Field, which was a very interesting conversation. We're walking past there and I'm like, hey, like, can I buy her one of these meals? What's going on here? And the guy's like, oh, she needs a bread coin. I didn't have any on me. And I'm like, well, let's talk about this. Like, how can we make this work? And he was just like, okay, come on. It's yeah. Mm-hmm. You can have one, mama. Here you go. Go ahead. And I'm like, do you want to sit down? And so it wasn't anything but really just having the audacity, right, to ask. And
right, because they were being respectful of our request, not sharing it with the entire community, but just for those participating. So he's doing his job, but at the same time, obviously recognizing,
yes, equity matters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, equity matters. So not being like a gatekeeper, knowing that this person is someone that's not about to go over to the food truck and buy anything. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing matters. So it was such a organic type event, like everyone out there, face painting. There was so much going on. How many book bags were given away? Like, we were stuffing book bags, it felt like, for the whole morning. Like,
so
already some stuff. So
I will definitely claim over 500 easily. Me and Dougie did 120. Thank you to Officer Bernadette Grimes, again, another police officer that, even though BPD as an agency was not available to supply us any kind of book bags. Sorry if you get in trouble, Bernie, but Bernie gave me about 100 book bags. Officer Anderson, one of his partners, I forget her name. She was able to donate 300 book bags. Again, well, let's see who else. Melissa. So Melissa Holtz with Doors program. She works for the state with disabled citizens and stuff. They've got a great village over on Morgan State property. We got to have her on the show one day talking about that. She also is a certified gun safety instructor.
Right.
But she came through. She got on her own. She went ahead and matched any donations that we could get to her on Cash App, and she brought a ton of book bags. So I'll claim well over 500, and every last one went out the door.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome. So Lou, let me ask you this. I know that there was a motorcycle there. There were some cars over
talk
there.
about
Like
that.
what type of cars and motorcycles, vehicles? Like I saw that there were some jet skis at some point somewhere.
Really?
What was going on?
I missed that.
So the motorcycle, we'll start with the motorcycle. So the motorcycle was in the parade procession, and we actually had in town Colin, who is an airman in the Air Force, but he also is an aspiring professional motorcycle racer.
Okay.
And our slogan with PowerFest Motorsports is "Do it on the track, not on the streets." So he was in the procession, and they had someone walking along with them handing out flyers for the local track, which is right there by BWI Airport.
Right.
And it's an opportunity for young people to get off the streets, and even adults. They even have from little kids to I think you have to be as old as 5 years old to get on the track. And they even have a race with 40 and over men and women, and it's very inexpensive. You can transition any dirt bike to the track, and it's a good family opportunity. But then you can use that for a stair step and going into the professional ranks. So he was just there to be able to promote that and to promote the track. It's called United Karting Center, and they actually race go-karts and dirt bikes out there. The car was actually an ambassador for the Marines. They bring this show car with them everywhere they go, and they show it 700 horsepower car. And a lot of the people who are getting the military are adrenaline junkies, so it's a draw for that. And then the jet skis. And I'm sorry, I don't have the name of the company, but it's a company, and I can give that to you guys, that actually has a program for young underprivileged children to be able to get out on jet skis and enjoy the water, which a lot of people just don't have the money to do. Those are expensive crafts. So, and that gentleman brought his jet skis out so people could just jump on them and take pictures and learn more about his program.
I love that. I love that.
Sounds
so
cool.
Also not far from the food trucks, there were basketball setups.
Got you. Basketball 3-point shootout, shoot buckets, not bullets is the term for that, and the slogan for that. And what they were doing was everybody could win. There was when you would shoot, I think you got 5 shots from different places around, and then you get a nice cold Gatorade for your participation. And it's just another embodiment where everybody got a chance to get a free Gatorade. It was hot out there, so you take your shots, you get your Gatorade. But also the gentleman who was handling that is really into young people and encouragement. So it was all about encouraging. The goal was adjustable, so little kids come up there, they would bring the goal down to let the little kids make sure they got a shot. And I'll tell you what, if you haven't seen this in your own self, everyone in this world, especially young people, need a chance to win. It'll bring you into yourself. Like, you can't be a loser all the time. Mentally, it would destroy you, and it gets you into a point of hopelessness. So something as simple as sinking a bucket into the basket and having that I won mindset, you can carry that on and grow on that. It sounds simple, but even the sport of basketball itself was created in a club with boys who were having issues, emotional issues, and all kinds of issues, violent mindset. And this gentleman invented that sport. And that sport, as they were getting the bucket into the basket, it was giving them a different mindset about themselves. So shoot buckets, not bullets, was not just a basketball setup. It was an opportunity for young people to feel good about themselves and feel like a winner.
There is a clip on one of the social media sites where a kid is shooting his. Can you all hear me well? My video looks crazy. I want to make sure.
No, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
So the kid is shooting like backwards, and his brother is dropping the basketball in the net. But the kid doesn't know that because he's shooting backwards, and he's just like so much, pumped up. He's like, "Yes, I got I got it. Look at what I can do. He's like, look, I don't even have to look at the net. And so, Lou, to your point, like, I get that boost, that mindset. Like, that kid had so much power and energy. And like, he's like, I'm the man. I don't need nobody to tell me because I know that I could shoot this basketball behind my back. So that does a lot for a little bit. And I love that they adjust the hoop. Like, that was so dope.
And
now,
Yep.
no, go ahead.
there's also the police and sneaks.
Say it again.
Yeah, Lou, you want to talk about Jalik Mathis, police and sneaks?
Yes. That the police officer was actually providing sneakers for the children. I forgot how many you had. And Chap, you were closer to that booth.
Mhm.
Did you get more information? I know we met, and he was an amazing guy. But Chap, you may have numbers because I don't have numbers.
I don't, but I'll share with you as part of his ministry and testimony that I know. So he's a police officer in Northwest. He's no longer Northwest. He got transferred, but he would every week, every time he got a paycheck, he'd take his paycheck and buy shoes for kids in the neighborhood, just out of pocket, like the rest of us do. And so he got himself organized, got recognized and organized, and so he has an official 501c called Police and Sneaks. His name's Jalik Mathis, and now he partners with Under Armour and some other, I forget what else, Boys and Girls Club. He's got some corporate partners that saw what he was doing and wanted to support him. So he's able to consistently expand his giving and making sure that our students have shoes. You know, if you guys need shoes, you can. I'll tell you what. He also was not on the clock Saturday, but he made sure he wore his uniform. And that was important. Again, like understanding that even though sometimes the system and the agency fails us, there are good officers out there doing good work. And so I appreciated that he wore the uniform to let people know, like, yes, I'm doing good work out here. I'm giving away shoes, and yes, I'm police. We're not all, what the media would say that we are, or have you believe. So shout out to him. I think I know that he had like a $1,000 or $2,000 budget for shoes for people. But again, he's also very humble. So he wasn't bragging or saying, we gave away X amount of shoes. He did what he did, and took each person individually and made sure they're taken care of, connected with them. He's doing good work out there. In fact, one of my guys over Northwest for prom didn't have a pair of shoes, and I reached out to the Northwest district, and not Officer Mathis directly, but another officer, one of the NCOs over there, which is a neighborhood community officer. He knew the kid because he's engaged in the community like he's supposed to. He's a coach in the community. He's a police officer, and so he just came through and bought TJ some shoes for prom. So there's a lot of good stories out here where police are engaged in the community. It's just important that we're telling that story because a lot of the politics will keep those stories quiet.
Yeah,
In fact, a lot of the politics will punish the officers for that work sometimes.
There were a lot of people out there in uniform. Like, I was surprised, like, if I didn't know any better, I would ask, is the Baltimore Police Department like putting this event
they did
on?
not. But let me tell you, I went in my phone and look, I pissed a couple people off, but I put a group text to every officer in my phone. I had to do like 3 texts because you can only do 20 per text. I let everybody know, like, listen, we're doing this. And I need everybody to come out and support your brothers in blue. And so that's why you saw so many people out there, because people took time to come out and show support, even though it wasn't officially a police department event.
No, but it was a great look for the community, right? Like, the car that led, that the Grand Marshal sat in was a police unit, a cute little police car, like all of it. I thought that was like a great way of air-conditioned, cute little police car. I thought that was a great way for the community and for the parade onlookers to see folks engaging. Like,
that was the point. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, because I know I'm familiar with the young lady who was celebrated as Grand Marshal for the parade, Bree. But you spent the day with her at your tent. So what can you tell us about her? How's she doing? What's going on?
Bree is super shy. She was not like she definitely didn't tell us no, right? She was super
No, she
surprised
didn't.
when we
That's why I'm
asked
like,
her.
wow, okay.
But she did what she needed to do. She put on the shirt. She felt like the collar was kind of low. She's like, I'm so modest. I can't wear this. We figured out how to roll it, make it look like a sash, like we know Lou wanted it to look like. But Bree was
Good
so
for her.
helpful. She was so engaging. She made sure that Khadijah and I recognized folks as they came up. Because Khadijah from Quincy Morgan Group and Walk with the Doc was out there with us. And Bree was just, there. She could have left at any time, but she spent the whole day with us. So it was a really good experience for her. But she was telling us a lot. She just moved into a place over in West
Druid Heights. Yep.
Baltimore. She's
The
getting
day before.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. Like literally just like the day before, but she still made time for us, right? Like she really came through for the come through and she enjoyed herself. She wasn't a former band member or anything, but she was out there moving and grooving with us and cutting it up with the folks. So when she told me that she was shy, I was like, Bree, I can't tell. Like you are engaging with everybody perfectly. Like I don't know who told you you were shy, girl, but you are just fine with us. So
Well, and we do our best work, like this show, Quida. We're in front of the camera. We're in front of whoever's watching. We do our best work when we're out of our comfort zone.
right. There's no
So,
growth in the comfort zone. Like
mm-mm.
that right there. You know what I mean? Like, so she, again, she was out of her comfort zone, but she was still engaging and she'll be around
That's
for more
great.
time to
That's good
come,
to hear. That was really the. I didn't know she was shy. The point was to encourage and celebrate her because when I met her, her spirit was just so genuine. We always say spirit recognizes spirit. Um, and so when I met her, I didn't really feel like I had to tiptoe or walk cautiously. I'm like, like when I met you, Quita, when I met you, Lou, it was just all. It was something just flooded me to say all in. These guys are all in. Like it's like I describe it to people like when I meet people like you guys, specifically like people part of the tribe. It's almost at this point I've been doing it so long, and I used to be a terrible judge of character. I trust everybody, and then they screw me, and then I give you another chance. But at this point, I don't even have to go that far because like the spirit just fills me with like a lifetime of love for someone I just met. And when I
yeah,
met you guys, that was the experience I had. And Lou down at 200 North Ave, you were like, I need this and that. I'm like, hey, whatever you need, bro, we got it. And when I met Quita, I'm like, where did you come from? Like, you get it. Like, we've talked for 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, shoot, you get it. Like, okay. That vibe happened with Bree, man. She was really excited. She had a great testimony that is hers to share, not mine. But she definitely wanted to plug in with more community work, and she was like asking to be mentored. She's like, I want to learn how to do this stuff, and I was like, it's real easy. Show up,
right.
just show up.
Right. And that's what she did. And that's what she did. But not only that, she's like, oh, yeah, Chap bought some cleaning products for
Oh yeah,
me. I
yeah.
had no idea. And she's just like, y'all are real people. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
just love being around real people. So she felt held. She felt welcomed. So it was a
Good.
really great
Yeah.
experience.
So Val Jenkins with Hug Don't Shoot. Hopefully they'll stick around this year and keep on grinding. But she gets Amazon deliveries or donations, and she's able to distribute them to people like ourselves who know people who may need them. So Tuesday, me and Earl and some of the guys helped her unload a truck, and we were able to take. I think we fed like, including first responders. So I was able to take groceries over to a couple of officers who were struggling. I got to take food to some of the homeless people that were camped out in front of the city hall, and I think it'd be good to talk about that in the next 10 minutes. But I was able to take food down there, and while I'm sitting there unloading this big truck, I texted Bree. I said, hey, look, I know you're in a in between space between your stress in between your lesson and your blessing. So what do you need? And she said cleaning stuff, hands down. So we just everything when the cleaning boxes got opened up, I made sure I grabbed stuff, hygiene stuff, and yeah, it's real simple. And I moved through the city anyway, so I just kept in touch with her. And when I was coming through her space, like, yeah, drop the box off.
But I don't know if she had seen her place like that, because like she was talking about how on time it was and how appreciative she was. Like,
because I'll tell you, it had to be, because every time I was able to like move through the city and drop it off, she was working. So she couldn't, like, it was a big box. I couldn't just take her box to like sit around at Cheesecake Factory in the kitchen. She's a chef at Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
So yeah, it did take us about 4 or 5 days. I think I got the donations on Tuesday from Val, and it took us till about Friday, really the day before, to drop them off.
I'm glad you were able to hold on to it.
Yeah, and another cool thing was that the timing is perfect. I knew the timing was on time, because as I was pulling up to drop it off, her case manager was walking out of the house, and I stopped and met this guy, and we were talking a little bit, and he knows like Teresa Davis, who's one of my sisters out here, film producer, writer, director, actress, and we started talking about some of my background work that I've been trying to start doing and getting some momentum with that, and some of the security that I've been running for some celebrities. It's been pretty dope, and he is also an actor, writer, director, producer. So it was like right on time connecting with him, because it just builds up that network now. And so we're building up a network in an entertainment industry that will bring more talent to the stage, to our parades, but also our young people like Bree and Dason and them, like, you know, as they're trying to sustain their work in the community. You can't always count on donations, but hey, maybe if I can get you one day of background acting and you get a $600 check for standing around in the background, right? Like, that's self-sustain your work, and you don't have to work, 40 hours to get that check.
Right.
So, I think it's just, it's good to expose everybody to everything we're doing good. And
maybe next time we need some monologues or something on stage, some actors out there showing us.
Oh, I got the guy who does a voiceover for Allstate. You're in good hands. Oh. So when they can't get that actor, this guy, Jason Charles, they call him the voice. He's in the DMV area. And you're in good hands at Allstate. Like, dude, he nails it. When I thought he was joking me. It was my first day on a film set, and then he did the whole commercial like verbatim, and I was like, "Oh, you are that guy."
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Had some mime artists up there doing some stuff. So.
So hey guys, I just wanted to jump in real quick, because some of the things that we're talking about, they're going full circle. Like, I always ask myself when I see someone experiencing homelessness, why are they homeless? Or when I see someone like Bree, who some of the situations that she's in, and as bright as she is, and as hardworking as she is, why is she in this situation?
Right. Yeah.
And the answer always comes up to resources.
Absolutely.
And opportunities. We are all one situation, one phone call, one incident, one thing away from being homeless. Everybody. I don't care if you're Elon Musk. Some things can happen with the stock market. It can have him just cooked. So that being said, the one difference is options. And what I see in a lot of times the Black community, what I see in some of the poor community is the lack of options.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that a lot of times growing up, you will see opportunities like, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a lawyer. And then you go, or I want to be an engineer. I'm going to build. You go and you find out you suck at math. Well, now you can't be an engineer.
Right.
But nobody told you could be a professional motorcycle racer. Nobody told you that you could be a jet ski mechanic. Nobody told you that you could be a person who works with reptiles. Nobody told you that you could be. There's so many options that we don't get a chance to see.
Right.
In my heart and my goal is to give people all the options. I remember being in high school and they had like a one of those career days, and it was like a teacher and a doctor and this and that. And I'm like, next. And then this dude who was like a state police officer walked in there, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. I never went that route, but it woke me up and it got me like, oh man, that's it. But had he never walked in there, I never would have understood how easy it was to become that opportunity or whatever. We need to give these opportunities. We talk about these squeegee boys on the corner. They're on the corner because nobody gave them options. And I'm not talking about just toss them a work at the register at Walmart options. Those aren't options. That's a step up, but that's not an option. But these guys could be welders. These guys could be body and fender guys, make more than doctors, fixing cars, fixing body shop guys, are painters. Car painters are bringing in like $250 a year, easily, painting cars.
250,000.
Oh, $250,000 a year,
Yeah.
easily. And so what I'm saying is, but we don't have these options, so we just don't know. And so when I look at, it's great that we have Quida with Baltimore Homes. It's great that we have a chap who will give you the shirt off his back. But but what I want is an opportunity and living in a land where we don't need Quida.
Right.
All I want to do is just hang out with Quida and have a sandwich.
Right.
We don't need Chap going to give somebody some feminine products and all this kind. All I just want to do is go hang out with Chap and just and sit and talk and rap at the beach.
Right. That takes 4 days to catch up with because they're so busy. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just feel like we need to have these options so people don't have to be in these positions.
Right.
And we need to bring those options to the forefront.
Yes.
To the people. I'm just in awe of what you guys are doing.
No, Lou, I say it all the time. Like in so many ways, most of our city is in survival mode, and we need to get to the point where we're thriving. Like we're not constantly acting out and responding to trauma. We're enjoying life and breathing in clean air and not feeling like the man is after us or whatever that may look like.
And that's, you know what? That's what happened Saturday. At least for, from 11 to 5. Nobody was worried about anything except being in the moment and enjoying the space.
And Bree, who is new to the group, she proved it. She's like, y'all are real people. I felt so welcomed. Like, I can't wait till the next event. How can I stay connected? That's how people need to feel at community events. That every night, it was so inclusive, Lou. I loved it. Go ahead, Chap.
So next weekend, Miss D, a new sister I met, Miss D, who is actually giving an honorarium to a couple of our performers from our weekend. So definitely Mass Destruction. I think a second band will be over at her event, as well as Timothy Fletcher will be drumming on at her event at Eager Park from 2 to 7 on Saturday. So yeah, August 27th, Eager Park, Saturday, 2 to 7. There's a back to school event. She claims hers is the biggest back to school event of the year, and I challenged her, hoping that ours will be bigger. So we'll go check it out and see. Ms. D, thank you for reaching out and asking for another band to join and asking for. She actually stopped by our event and she saw what we did, and so she connected with some of the people there. Between you and me, we got 3 minutes. Between you and me, the bands are competing, Lou. But I didn't tell even yourself that I had some movie producers there, I had some music producers there, and I had a lot of people, entertainment people that I've been networking with there. So all the bands, all the stage performers were auditioning, whether they knew it or not. And a couple of them got paid gigs next weekend because of it. So like that was part of the work, right? That's part of the job is providing those opportunities.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something else I wanted to mention. We'll talk about it next time, Q. We definitely did a good job on Saturday showing love. Our tribe is real. Our tribe is strong. And so I think we showed that on Saturday. And the next big event, I just want to mention, obviously, the Walk with the Doc every Sunday, 9 a.m. Join us, because that's where a lot of us can collaborate and network and just
Lake Montebello
some space to chill out. As you're talking about, Lou, we do that every Sunday morning. And then October 29th, Mass Destruction is celebrating their 10th anniversary. We're going to, me and Officer Anderson are going to work on locking in the harbor again, and we're going to do a night parade with LEDs.
We're
going to bring in our Latina family. They're going to show up and show out. Hopefully, we got a conversation Wednesday. So
we need somebody with glow in the dark face paint.
Glow in the dark face paint. Let's talk to our face paint people. Let's start thinking about this. But October 29th, 10th anniversary at the Inner Harbor for Mass Destruction.
That sounds like so much fun.
It is. It's going to be amazing.
You wrap that at just the right time. Go ahead, Lou. You got like 15
I do. Real quick. Is it a Friday night or a Saturday night?
I don't know. Google it.
Well, whatever you guys decide, there's a bike party that goes on Friday nights where they ride glow stuff. Maybe it'd be great. And they ride through the harbor. It would be awesome to put them together.
That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. But they can do it on Saturday.
Okay.
We can add them to it. Yep.
Awesome.
All right. Love you guys.
Robert
Robert's coming on next, guys. Love y'all.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.